Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Don Odell's Legends. My name is Art Tipaldi. I'm the editor of Blues Music Magazine. Check us out online at bluesmusicmagazine.com or go to our Facebook page and see what we're about. And today we have with us in the studio one of the hardest working current bands out there in the blues scene. These guys load up a van and travel all over the place. We've got Doug Deming right here. Doug, welcome. Dennis Gruenling over here on harmonica, and the Jewel Tones, you'll see them a little bit later on. But you guys are really hitting the road hard these last couple of years, huh?
Yeah, we sure are.
Yeah. Is it the partnership between you two that started this heavy hitting road?
Probably. To this extent, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, two heads are better than one.
Yeah.
And it helps to have somebody pick up some slack when you can help each other out. And,
Sure.
And I think it's pretty safe to say that.
Yeah. Because we both hit the road with our own bands.
Right.
When we first hooked up, Doug hired me and I hired Doug
Sure.
for our individual tours. And then once we started working together, and really we started working more on the road, really than we had individually.
Yeah. Do you find that as a partnership like this, there's more demand for your show than you might have as individual acts?
I would say
think so,
probably.
yeah.
I mean, we don't have anything to compare it against because as your profile raises, the more you do, the more the more you're wanted. So, but I think it's pretty safe to say, yeah. I mean, two guys out front, you double your audience, and you work from there.
Right. How did you put two shows together into one? What was the negotiation like?
Pretty easy.
Yeah. It was pretty easy, especially because I don't really sing.
Okay.
And when I hired Doug on my tours, it started with when I did my Little Walter tribute. And
Okay.
we were taking
When was
Steve
that?
Geiger. That was in '08, I think it was.
Something like that.
And I took Doug with his band as
Right.
well as Steve Geiger. So Steve Geiger did some of the vocals, and I hired Doug, of course, to do some of them. And so, after that, Doug had learned some of the material that were on my records, and then I learned basically the stuff that was on his records. And, and we play similar styles, have similar influences, so it really was pretty easy to make it happen.
Yeah. Did you find adding a harmonica to your band took it to a new or uncovered some newer sounds that you could explore?
Well, not really, because I always had a harmonica player.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Okay.
no, I'd worked with lots of harmonica players. Fingers Taylor, and
yeah.
was in my group for a while, a guy named Dave Morris, who used to, back in the day, had a band called Big Dave and the Ultrasonics.
Oh, yeah, I remember that, sure.
Always had a harmonica player and always had a good one, and now I've got a great one.
That's right.
And we probably cover more ground than most harmonica bands do.
Yeah.
Just the nature of the beast.
Right.
And that's a great thing for us because it gives us a lot of variety. We both got a lot of influence. They're both varied, but they mesh real well together.
Now, how did you guys hear about each other? You said I'd hire him to back me. You'd hire. How did you guys?
I know Kim Wilson was one guy who brought your name up to me years ago.
Really?
And you worked with Kim for a while on the road.
Yep.
But
Kim, it was Kim and I believe Mark Hummel, both.
Mark Hummel.
Oh yeah.
And then Dennis O.
Dennis Oleg,
our buddy in Kansas City.
Okay.
I was at the time. I had some tours booked. Didn't have a harmonica player to go. Fingers was on his way out. Dave Morris had went back to school, and had a couple guys say, "Hey, call Dennis. He's he'd be good for you."
Yeah,
A lot of guys said, you guys would really mesh together. So I called Dennis up, and it's really a funny story. We had a couple of conversations on the phone, and we said, let's do this. I had a 3-week tour booked. We'd never met.
Right.
And we decided, okay, we're going to do this tour together. So Dennis played a gig at home in New Jersey.
Yeah.
And at the time, I was living in Detroit, where I'm from.
Yeah.
And he played his Friday night gig in New Jersey, got in his van after the gig late at night, and drove through the night to my house.
Wow.
Pulled in my driveway.
We met and shook hands
Right in the driveway.
He got out of the car. We shook hands, took his amp, put it in my van, and we took off for 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Wow.
That was
pretty crazy.
It was,
Yeah. And what was the first show like then?
It was a little crazy.
Yeah.
It was a little
crazy,
Yeah.
but
another
it wasn't.
show.
It wasn't because we didn't know each other. It was one of those nights.
Yeah.
We were playing in Grand Rapids, Michigan, at Billy's Lounge.
Yep.
Yeah.
Hank Mallory was there.
Yeah, our good buddy Hank Murray was there.
Yeah.
And we were hanging out, but ironically enough, the bass player that was in the band at the time, these were some Detroit guys, great guys, but in the haste of leaving for the road, the bass player forgot to put his amp in the van.
Okay.
So we got to the gig to find there's no bass amp.
Oops. It's an acoustic show tonight.
Well,
right?
it was
No.
it was interesting to say the least.
Yeah.
But memories.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. And look, I know enough about watching musicians play with each other that, you know, there's a language that you guys know that, to me, I'm going, oh my God, they're speaking perfect French together up there. You know, it's like, you know what the language is and how to complement each other. So
Sure.
there's no learning curve of how we're going to do this.
Yeah,
Right.
musicians that are on the same page have that language, and
Yeah.
then now at this point we've played together years. So
Yeah.
so there's a whole nother level of that.
For sure, for
Yeah.
sure.
Of that going
And I
on.
like, you know, it's hard enough as a harmonica player to find a guitar player that not only knows how to back up a harp
Yeah.
player
Yeah.
in the traditional Chicago
Right.
style of blues, but even other styles that we both love, the
Yeah.
jump stuff, the New Orleans
West
stuff,
Coast,
some of
yeah.
the swamp stuff.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
You know, so it's, and we have varied tastes, but they're all, I guess people would consider it, you know, traditional blues. I
Yeah.
just call it rhythm and blues. I
Right,
mean, that's
right.
really what it is.
Right, right. Yeah.
So, but we love all those styles.
That's right, yeah. Strengths of each one? What's his strength in the partnership?
He's relentless. And I mean that in a good way.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean that in a good way.
Yeah.
No, this is a guy that will not give up.
Mm-hmm.
And I appreciate that and respect that about him.
Yeah.
On stage and off.
Yeah, good.
And that's a good trait to
Yeah.
have as a musician and as a partner.
Yeah. And Doug's strengths out there?
Totally professional. Could count on him for pretty much anything
Yeah.
that we need on or off the bandstand.
Yeah.
You know, can totally trust the guy with anything on or off the bandstand.
Right, right.
Which is you know, says a lot in
Yeah,
my book.
Yeah. Does he do all the business for the band in terms of the bookings, or do you share that?
Well, we share a lot of that. You know, it
Yeah.
depends on the tour sometimes. Sometimes I handle more of that. Sometimes
Okay.
Doug handles more of that.
Uh-huh.
And then we're on the road.
Depends
you
on
know,
the
just-
direction we're going.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, obviously, you know, Dennis being from the Northeast, he's got more Northeast contacts,
Right,
so he'll
sure.
do more of that. Southeast,
Mhm.
I'll
You
have some
that,
more,
you have
and then
Midwest.
we Midwest, and then
yeah.
we team up on
Yeah.
we team up
We
on
team
all
up
of
on
it.
most of it, really.
Yeah.
I mean, 'cause
Yeah.
we've
Yeah.
both been on the road for years. So.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you guys being on the road for years really have sort of flown under the radar, would you say, until you've come together?
Yeah.
It's definitely
I
raised
think
our
so.
profile, sure,
Yeah, yeah,
sure.
yeah. And you moved to Florida.
I've been there about 5 years.
5 years.
Mm-hmm.
Is that also, or was that also a step forward in your career, leaving
It was,
Michigan?
it was a step forward in my career. That wasn't really the plan.
Yeah,
Honestly, you know, Detroit will always be home
Mhm.
and an incredible place to come up
Yeah,
musically,
yeah,
and it's such a rich community, and you know, I love it to death. But I don't know why, but things have really clicked in Florida,
Yeah.
and you know, it just seems like a lot of the blues business has gone down there, and
Right.
it seemed to, coincide with the timing of my move, which really was completely unrelated
Yeah,
to
yeah,
to the the real business of the blues. I just liked warm weather and liked to fish.
Yeah, Captain Doug. Yeah. Well, are you playing? You're playing a lot more now in Florida than you did
Yes.
in Michigan, I guess.
Well-
and you have a lot of regular gigs.
I do.
down
I
there.
do. I work a lot in Florida. I worked a lot in Michigan. I
Uh-huh.
mean, you know, before the economy got the way
Yeah.
it is, I mean, I could work 5 nights a week in Detroit and
Right.
make a really good living, and
Yeah, yeah.
it was wonderful.
Yeah.
The economy hit the city pretty hard,
Yeah.
and you know, not only my business but my wife's.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, the move helped both of us.
Right, right. And for older blues fans who do go to Florida,
Sure.
you would say, what about the blues scene?
I'd say it's vibrant and it's growing.
Yeah.
And
It,
you know, I'll just count myself lucky.
yeah, it seems like when I'm looking online, there's something going on every night, you know, whether
Yeah.
it's St. Petersburg or Clearwater, Sarasota, Cortez, Bradenton, all over the place.
When I moved to Bradenton, there was pretty much nothing going on. I
Yeah.
just liked it. It
Yeah.
felt like home with
Yeah.
palm trees.
Yeah, yeah.
And you know, within a year or two of me living there, you know, Music Magazine moved in.
That's
and
right.
They started a festival.
Right.
Some other guys, you know, touring musicians moved into the neighborhood, and all of
Mhm.
a sudden, it's a spot.
Yeah.
And again, completely unexpected. I'll just call it completely lucky.
Yeah.
But
With
I'll
all
take
the,
it.
with all the playing that you do down there, do you find that the audiences continue to come back, or do they sort of say, "Oh, Doug and Dennis, we've seen them before"? What's your sense of?
they're back over and over and over again. In fact, the nice part about the spot I'm in is we got a lot of people, you know, that are in, they're snowbirds.
Yeah.
They're coming in from up north. They're coming in from Canada. They're coming in from all over.
Right.
And you know, they meet us and they really like the band, and you know, they tell us, well, where are you from? Oh, we're from Buffalo. Oh, great, we'll be in Buffalo on this date and that date. So you know, it's the real shocker to me is that it's really turned around, and playing at home has helped us on the road, because we so many people that have heard us at home,
Right.
passing
Now take
through,
it home.
take
with
it home,
them.
and they come and see
And they
us
bring their
on the road.
friends.
Yeah, that's really been a benefit that I didn't see
That's
coming either.
very cool,
Very,
yeah.
Again, we'll call it lucky and
Right.
keep rolling with it.
Yeah. So Dennis, why the hell haven't you moved there yet?
Well, it's a little warm during the summertime.
Yeah, I'm with you. It's like,
You know, I do love it down there. There's
Yeah.
a great scene.
Yeah.
You know, and obviously I love playing down there because the band's all there.
Yeah.
But you know, it's not home for me.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
At least at this point in my life. But
Right.
it's
right.
still very warm down there for me.
Yeah. Well,
It's
brutal
I can't
right
really
now.
get away with the suits.
Yeah, you can't wear the curtains that you get away with.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah. You grew up in New Jersey, and I know
Yes.
Doug in the Detroit area, and I'll ask you some of your background. But what's it like? What's the blues scene like growing up in New Jersey?
Well,
I grew
there-
up in New Jersey, so
yeah,
that was
well,
years
the-
ago. but what's the blues scene like in New Jersey for a kid growing up? Where do you go? Who do you hear?
That's an interesting question. There wasn't that much of a blues scene. You know, there's always, you know, under the radar, the
Yeah.
die-hard blues fans wherever you go,
Right.
which is great about this
Yeah.
music. But there wasn't that much of a blues scene. There were, when I got hip to blues, which is around maybe 90, 91 maybe, there were some local restaurants and clubs and festivals that were having blues and some touring acts. And
Yeah.
I would, you know, when I got hip to blues right around that time, guys were hitting the road a lot more. Rod Piazza,
That's right.
William Clark,
That's right. Yeah.
Anson
yeah.
and Sam,
Anson and
Gary
Sam,
Primmich,
yep.
you know,
Rick
Hummel,
Estrin,
Rick
yep.
Estrin, yep, Little Charlie. All those guys were on the road pretty heavy
Yeah,
back then.
Yeah, yeah.
And the scene kind of slowed down, like within, I guess, 10 years of that.
Yeah, yeah.
But I was, you know, I pretty much locked myself home most of the time and practiced
Wow.
for the first, you know, bunch of years anyway.
Yeah.
But there were some diehard blues fans in my area who kind of hit me to, you know, who to go see and what to do. Especially one of the first harp players I saw live, Steve Geiger from Philadelphia, who has joined me on records and tours and even on shows on this trip.
Sure.
He's a good friend of mine, and he's one of my favorite singers and harmonica players and artists out there who's
Yeah.
really doing that, you know, what people would call traditional blues,
yeah,
old school
yeah,
blues.
yeah.
I just call it real blues.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, it's not just Chicago stuff, it's just old style rhythm and
Right,
blues. And
right.
he's just a bad dude.
Yeah, yeah.
So he kind of, you know, he's been a good friend, always supported and encouraged me doing what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And just between that and basically buying records every weekend
Right.
since I got hip to blues
Yeah.
and jazz, I mean, really, that was my
Yeah.
education.
Yeah.
Because there wasn't such a big scene. There was some, but you know, the first couple of years getting hip to this music, it wasn't out of the ordinary for me to drive a couple hours into Pennsylvania to
Yeah.
see Rod Piazza, one
yeah.
of the first live blues shows I saw,
Yeah.
or go to New York to see James Cotton,
Yeah.
or you know, go down to Delaware to see William Clark. It just, you know,
That's right, yeah.
That's what I did.